Welcome to Raw Radio.
And we're live.
Yes, we are. Here we go. Let's do this.
Let's do this. What are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Well, we just got done talking to Budo Jake, and for those who think that he is just centrally preliminary, primarily, I can't talk today. It sounds like you're
foreign?
talking. Yeah, I think.
Are you foreign?
Yeah, I'm imitating you today. Primarily a jiu-jitsu guy. Well, there's a lot more to Budo Jake than that. He's heavily involved in yoga. He also took Aikido for a long, long time in his past. There's a lot going on there. And one of the things that I think we talked about and we took away from our conversation was the mind-body connection. And how does that connection work for you? What do you think of it? Is it there? Is it separate? Can the mind overcome certain things, physical aspects, things like that? I don't know. What was your take on that?
First of all, Jake is such a interesting individual, and I followed Jake for decades at this point. I remember Jake way back in the day where Budo videos were just getting off the ground. They were selling DVDs and VHS way back in the day. Like I remember purchasing stuff from them. They selling gear and other things, right? I mean, they became a huge company, huge impact on what jiu-jitsu we have today. But there's so much more to Jake, and it was such an interesting conversation to kind of pivot more into his personal layers, if you will, to see how that connection exists for him between the mind, body, jiu-jitsu, and yoga, between these four pillars. For me personally, the body has to connect to the mind, and I'm not a yoga expert. I've done a handful of times. I don't know anything about yoga. Let's be just straight on this, right? But even without that, it's so important for that connection to take place for the purposes of our life, and then for purposes of jiu-jitsu. Like when we train, we have to make decisions. It's not a brainless motions. There are decisions that we have to make at specific times for a specific purpose to achieve specific goals, and as a continuous stimulation. And then I personally know when I go home after training or after running classes, I'm such an overload in my mind, I can't go to bed. Like I can't sleep. So whether you like it or not, the connection is there. Right. The question is, how do we address it? How do we stimulate it the right way how do we tune it the right way so we can really take advantage of our mind driving our body and our body executing what needs to do, and then obviously tuning back our mind to where it needs to be.
I don't know. I only know that when I am not thinking clearly, or I am in some sort of emotional state that is negative, I do think that also has a very powerful effect on me physically. It also makes me lazy. So I'm not looking at it strictly from just like on the mats and that mind body connection of I need to move this way or that way or counter this or counter that. I'm talking about it a little bit more on a broader scale of if my mind's not right, what does that do to me physically? So even if I'm just sitting at home, right, what is my mental state doing to me physically? And then, you can flip that. Or if you start getting into a better mental state and you start getting a little physically more active, how does that benefit you and you inside your head while you're sitting alone at those times too? Does that change your attitude, your perceptions, and your mindset?
Yeah, and I think a lot of students actually use jiu-jitsu as that mind-freeing tool. You see a lot of students who say, I go to work every single day. I'm just brainwashed. I don't want to think about this. I want to disconnect from my family. I want to disconnect from my day-to-day reality, if you will. And I step on the mat, and this is my escape. This is my ability to just clear my mind and do what I want to do. So I think there are some correlations between some of these tools of disconnecting. Some find the physical aspect of jiu-jitsu, like sparring, very, very freeing, if you will. Very that opportunity of just being in their own bubble, forgetting about everything else, leaving everything outside, and using that hour or two for that kind of stimulation.
Yeah, and I also think that when you leave everything at the door, and you have that stimulation here at the academy, that carries over, so that when you start thinking about those things again that you left at the door, you have a new perspective on them, and you can approach them with a different point of view. I know I made a post last week how I got here in a bad mood. Hard to believe. But I got here in a bad mood and I left with a smile on my face, and it was for a whole bunch of different reasons. And that smile on my face carried me through the rest of my night, right? Had I stayed home or done something else, I probably would have stayed in that crappy mood with that bad attitude, and that would have determined the rest of the night for me. So, it gives, it just, I don't know, it's like a release. It's a refresher. And like I said, then you can look at all those other stressors in your life with a different point of view and see what really matters. And should you have been really bothered by that, and you can let it go, or how do I address it and fix it? All that different stuff.
Yeah. And then listen, like, this is not a secret, but often we don't think about these things. It's you can stay at home and you can be grumpy. You can have what?
Give it to me. Marcio Cruz. Give it to me. We haven't brought it up in weeks and weeks.
Football.
It's football season.
Thursday football and beer. Is there pizza and beer?
The couch. Thursday night football and beer. Pizza definitely plays a part too. But those are the threats to your jiu-jitsu journey.
In my mind, and maybe I'm a little biased, about this because I teach, and obviously jiu-jitsu is a big component of my life. But you had a bad day at work. Yeah. There's nothing we can do about it. It's how do you recover from it? You can go home and you can dwell on it, or do something about it. And I'm not saying come and do jiu-jitsu, but go hang out with your family. Change the direction of the day.
Yeah, you got to do something positive.
So you have to do something positive. And a lot of students find stepping onto the mat is that positive thing. The hardest point of this entire short event is to make the decision to get in the car and drive to the academy, because I'm pretty positive once you get to the academy, you're going to be fine. Everything, you see people you're familiar with, you get your mind in the right state, and you train, and your life is good. You leave, you're a little bit tired, you had a good time, your mind is completely isolated from whatever bad day event it was earlier that day, and that's what changes the day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But often we choose to just dwell on these things and kind of hyper focus on, and that really spirals very quickly to a negative approach and really pulls us down, and then often it pulls everybody around us at the same time. Pulls everybody down. So that connection between mind and body, I think, is very, very important. And Jake definitely takes this to a next level. He says, listen, the time on the mat is important, but there is also the time where you can take this to a next level, and he uses yoga for that specifically. He does some, I'll be honest, some crazy stuff. Okay, some crazy stuff. But we'll post links in the notes of the show, so take a look at Jake doing his crazy yoga stuff. But there is something to it. He's not the first one who talks about yoga being the complement to jiu-jitsu, right? And they are so opposite. They're so opposite. Right? It is more of that controlled motions and really focusing yourself. And I shouldn't be talking about this because I don't know anything about yoga, but it definitely. Well,
I think the part that I see, obviously, there's the physical benefits of flexibility, mobility, all that stuff, stability. But there's also that if you do it by yourself, and even in a class setting, in certain classes, you're alone mentally. Right. So you're doing something physical, but you're also alone with your thoughts while you're doing it. And you do have to concentrate. Is my body in the right position? Is my foot flat or flexed, all that type of stuff. But it gives you the opportunity to be alone inside your own mind for a little while. And I think that's a big part of that mind-body connection. You're alone with your thoughts. You're processing information. You're having success probably in what you're doing, both physically and mentally. And then when it's over, again, just like at jiu-jitsu, you're walking away, and a lot of those stressors are gone, and you can figure out how to handle things, you know?
Yeah.
And I'd also, we're talking about mind body. I mean, we've had people on the show who have talked about, curing themselves just with positive thought. And it doesn't mean you just sit there and think positive thoughts on, while watching Thursday Night Football and drinking beer. But
I was about to say.
Yeah, but you're thinking about you're being positive. That positive attitude carries over to your physical being, right? So now you have a positive attitude of, yes, I can get on the mats, or yes, I can do yoga. And guess what? Those old hips are not so old anymore, right? That neck doesn't hurt like it usually does. And I think that's, you're not curing yourself with some weird, astral plane thought thing. That positive attitude is putting you in physical motion. And that's where the cure comes in. That's where, you can really start benefiting. So I think that for me anyway, that's the mind body connection. It's not some, voodoo cultish type of thing that people talk about. It's more of how your attitude shapes your action, and then how that action, vice versa, goes back to shape your attitude.
Sounds good.
Does it? I don't know.
You sound
Sounds like I'm talking out my,
you sound very smart today.
Yeah. Do I? Cool. Then let's end this right here. Let's wrap it up.
Shortest takeaway in the world. Gary's done talking.
No, I'm not. I got one more thing to talk about, actually.
What is it?
Roll TV.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Check it out, right? We've got, you've got, I believe, still a deal going for the Roll Radio listeners. Is that true?
I mean, Roll TV has been helping us phenomenally, in a phenomenal way to really support this show. So, I mean, it's just another way how you can engage. And Jake talked about that. The saturation of videos available online, free and paid, is so high today that you can literally find everything without paying a dime. However, there is a value behind engaging some of these organized and cataloged libraries, if you will. And we've done quite extensive work with Roll TV to really put it what it is. Take a look at it, rolltv.com. I mean, rollacademy.tv. I completely butchered that. I sent everybody in the wrong place.
That's all right. You should have heard how you pronounce phenomenal.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Okay. Fine. Yeah.
Rollacademy.tv.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's rollacademy.tv.
That's what I said.
I know.
All right. Yeah, we should have ended this after you said I was smart.
But listen, one of the things that recently we start adding to Roll TV is common questions for jiu-jitsu practitioners. That library is continuously growing. And it's completely free. You don't need to pay a dime. You don't even have to sign up. Just go to rollacademy.tv. The questions are there. You can also go to our YouTube channel where this show is being presented as well. If you just search YouTube for Roll TV, you'll find it there. All the tips are there as well. Take advantage of it. Share them with everybody. I'm hoping that that's going to help you. And then if you have questions, send them my way. I'll be happy to record the answers and continue doing. It's a kind of cool project to see what you guys are thinking about and how we can help you grow. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Yeah, it's cool. I noticed the pattern of like how we have these conversations, and then that's the new video. And I think it's just cool how everything connects, whether it's here at this show, or at the academy or the websites. It's all coming together, and it's a lot of fun.
So before anybody goes in the wrong place, where do they need to go for this?
Rollacademy.tv.
If you use Roll Radio as a coupon, you get 30% off of all the subscriptions, or whatever is available there.
That's awesome.
All right. Let's wrap it up.
All right. Peace.
Later.
Thank you for listening to Raw Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.